Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new, make sure you subscribe below. So today we're going to get a little bit more serious. I thought I would talk about being a teen mom or realizing that I became pregnant. So this is definitely going to have things that maybe smaller kids shouldn't hear, so be mindful of that. I just want to give tips, maybe help somebody out, maybe a teen who's pregnant now, maybe a parent learning how, talking with your kids, and just things that I learned along the way that I wish would have happened to me, or things that I wish that I could have done differently. Okay. I am by no means an expert in any way. I just think when you live it, it's kind of, you learn lessons along the way. So, mom and dad, if you're watching and you don't want to hear about my sex life, now would be the time to exit this video. Everybody else, hope you keep watching. So, I had my very first boyfriend, serious boyfriend, when I was about sophomore, junior in high school. We dated for about 2 years. Looking back, now I realize his intentions were for me to do good, for me to be on the right track, because he had already experienced some bad things. He was only a year older than me, but he knew a lot. He is the one that I first originally started having sex with. I was about 16 years old. We had discussed it. We had talked about it. We had decided we were going to use protection. He was going to wear a condom. He was very careful. We were both very careful. And I can't say we had sex a lot, but we definitely did it enough. But then one day, he decided he didn't want to be in that relationship anymore for whatever his reasons were. And I was devastated. I thought that obviously he was the person I was going to be with. We had made plans to be together after high school. So when he broke up with me, I was devastated. But I, kept doing me. And he was a little bit more, I don't want to say strict. I would say, like, he didn't want me to drink. He didn't want me to ditch. He didn't want me to do things. And at 16, you don't want to be told what to do. You already have parents. You don't want to be told what to do. So I kind of was not really rebelling against him, but just wanting to experiment, to try things. And that's eventually when he did break up with me. And then that's when I met Robert, who is the father of my first two children. He was everything that the first boyfriend wasn't. They are complete opposites. Nothing is remotely the same. And Robert was doing everything that was bad. Back then, I'm totally going to date myself, but back then, they used to have party crews, and he was part of a party crew, and all they did was throw parties and drink and ditch and everything that was wrong. Okay? So he was attracted to me. I don't know that I was necessarily attracted to him. I was attracted to everything he was doing. It looked fun. It looked like this is what I wanted to do. And boy, was I wrong. So we dated for a couple months, and then, unlike the first relationship where we had kind of discussed it, we talked about it, we were trying to be mature about it, that is not how this second relationship went. We just kind of had sex in the back of my car one day, and I did ask him to use a condom. He did use a condom. However, it broke, right? So I was devastated. I was shocked. I had never had this happen to me. Like, what? And so my parents didn't talk to me about sex. My parents didn't talk to me about not having sex or anything like that. So to know what to do next was just not in my realm of thinking. So first thing I would say, definitely talk to your kids. If you're a parent and you have teenagers, or if you're a parent of a kid at all, start talking to your kids when they're young. And I'm not saying, tell them don't be having sex, don't do this, don't do that. No. Obviously it needs to be age appropriate, but if you start having those conversations when they're younger, it gets easier when they're older. And then when you have to have that really tough conversation, that really awkward, that you don't want to have that conversation with, it's going to be a little bit easier because you guys already have that open communication. So I feel like I did that a lot with my kids, but I was blunt and straightforward and don't do this, don't do that. Not saying that my kids didn't do this or didn't do that. I'm just saying I felt like it was easier for me and for my kids when we were having conversations because I started having conversations with them early. So back to the story. Um, so yeah, nobody ever talked to me about any of that. So I really didn't know what to do. I did know that I got scared. I got scared and I told him I wasn't comfortable having sex anymore. Like it wasn't gonna happen. I got scared. That never happened to me before. And so life went on. We date. We still would go out. We would still do our thing. We just weren't having sex. It was through the summer, and I remember one day I was sitting in my dad's brown chair, and I was eating a microwavable dinner with my sister. We were watching TV like any other day, and I ate it. And when I ate it, instantly, as soon as I was done, I had to throw up. Like, what? It was instant. I had got up and I ran to the bathroom and I threw up. I, of course, being naive, didn't even think anything. I just didn't. However, my little sister told my mom, "Oh, Liz threw up today." And my mom, I think jokingly, said, "Are you pregnant?" And I'm like, "Yeah, right." Of course, that's going to be my reaction at 17. Yeah, right. But it got me thinking, oh shit, wait. Like, when was the last time I had my period? When was the last time anything? Now remember, we only had sex the one time and the condom broke. And I thought, what? So immediately I called him and I'm like, when did we have sex? When the condom broke? When was that? Blah 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 blah. How long ago was it? And then we realized, am I pregnant? Like could this really be true? And so he said, let's go to the clinic. We'll just go and we'll find out. So the next day he came and he picked me up and we went to the clinic and sure enough, that pregnancy test came back positive. So if you think it can't happen by just having sex one time, you're wrong. It definitely can. Of course, it didn't help that the condom broke and this and this and that. Of course. But things happen. Situations happen that are out of your control. So it's if you're a teenager and you're watching this, my recommendation to you is just don't have sex. If you're not ready for a kid, I can tell you, I had never even thought about a kid. I had never even been around babies, let alone thought about being a mom to one. So, you know, I wasn't even a thought in my mind. I didn't even know what was up and what was down at that point. So we discussed, I never really thought that abortion would be an option. It wasn't for me. Um, then I considered, should I do adoption? I'm still in high school. I'm just about to start my senior year. Like, what am I gonna do? And he really wanted me to keep it, and I'm like, okay, is okay. Well, then what am I gonna do? What are we gonna do? And he's like, well, I'll get a job, and you'll finish school, and we'll figure it out. And I'm like, okay, well, we got to tell my parents. Like, he told his mom on his own. Um, I didn't ever really have a good relationship with his mom. Um, so it was just, we felt it was better for him to just tell her. Of course, the questions were, are you sure it's yours? Are you sure? Da, da, da. And why we didn't ever have the best relationship. Um, so telling my parents. So my parents were separated. They separated when I was in high school, but then towards the end of high school, they started getting back together. At this point, we still lived in separate homes. I lived in my home with my mom, and my dad and my brother lived in a separate home. And I lived with my brother and sister. So my mom happened to be at my dad's house one night, and I thought, well, this will be a perfect time to tell them. So me and Robert go over to my dad's house, and I tell them. I have something that we need to tell you. And I know that it was the furthest thing from my mom's mind. I don't think my mom even thought that. Even though she had said it when I threw up, I think she just completely dismissed it because I told her no. And I had never given her a reason to, to lie. Granted, I don't feel that I was actually lying to her. I didn't believe it. I didn't think I was pregnant at the time either. So, realizing later that I was and that she was right, and then that's what triggered it. So I go and I tell them, and it's hard for me to just tell them to just come out with it. But eventually I tell them, Mom, I'm pregnant. My mom and dad are pregnant. My dad's reaction, which if you know my dad, he's very laid back, he's very chill, was, well, shit happens. Literally, that's what he said. And my mom, I mean, she just lost it. And by all means, she should. My parents did the best they could raising me. I know the difference between wrong and right. Even at that age, I knew. But it was a choice that I made, and that nobody was going to convince me otherwise. So, the choice was mine to make, not a reflection on their parenting by any means. So my mom loses it. My mom loses it. She goes, I just remember her, there was this, between the kitchen and the living room, you go walk around it and she's pacing it and pacing it and pacing it. She's screaming, she's yelling, and she gets her stuff and she leaves. And so then and she told me not to come home. So I was like devastated, like what? Like I didn't expect that. So we, I end up staying with my dad for a while, and it wasn't that long. And then one day my mom calls and was like, "Are you coming home?" And so I knew that was her telling me it was time to come home. I came home, and when I came home, of course, I didn't come home by myself because I was so nervous and scared. I came home with two of my really good friends, Courtney and Connie. I'm pretty sure it was Connie. And my aunt was there, which is my dad's sister, and they're yelling at us. Like, what are you thinking? And I don't think it really registered yet. I don't think it clicked that I was gonna have a baby. So he went and he got a job, and I continued going to school. While I was in school, the high school that I went to tried to tell me that I could not go to school there. And I remember thinking, what? I'm almost done. I'm like a straight A student. Why can't I go here? I just want to finish school. And so then I had to sign a waiver saying that I can go to school. So know your rights, know what you could do if you're a teenager. You do not have to go to continuation school. You can continue to go to the school that you are in and finish and graduate. I did end up graduating with my class with a 3.7, and I'm very proud of that. Okay? So don't think that you have to leave. You can stay. Now, I had my daughter in March 27th is her birthday. My birthday is February 24th. So I was literally had just turned 18. I was still in high school, and I can tell you, I remember it like it was yesterday. So I was in school doing my thing, and about a week before my birthday, my Robert, the father of my daughter, was arrested. Okay? He was arrested, and there's a lot of things that he hid from me that I didn't know. I didn't know half the things he was doing. I was more at that point focused on myself, on the baby, and trying to graduate high school. Yeah, I still went out with him. Yeah, I still, we hung out, we did our thing, but he was working, and he worked at night, and then he would sleep during the day. And when I saw him, and it was just the way things were. And he gets arrested, and I get this phone call, and I'm like, what's going on? Like, he's in jail. And so he was arrested for arson. He claims, now I never looked into anything, none of that. He was 18. He claims that he was playing with fireworks and a building caught on fire. He was arrested. Okay, so now I'm alone. Okay, I'm alone, and my kid is father is in prison. So I just keep on trucking along and figuring things out. Of course, I wasn't alone. I had my family. I had my parents. I definitely wouldn't be anywhere that I am today without my family. Okay, that's my mom, my dad, my sisters, my brothers, my extended family, my aunt, my uncles, my cousins. Okay, like everybody has helped me in one way or another, and I appreciate all of them. So remember that your family is most important. I guess that would be the next thing that I would say. Um, so I go in. So there was the Friday before spring break. Um, there was a basketball game. I went with my friends, and I normally after that we would go to Denny's. And so I just wasn't feeling well that day, and I'm like, you know what? Courtney had picked me up. I'm like, Courtney, can you just take me home? I really don't want to go to Denny's today. I'm not really feeling up to it. And all I can say is thank goodness to me, thank goodness to Courtney that I didn't go, because I got home, I changed. I think I showered, I changed, I got into bed, and as soon as I got into bed, I felt like a trickle. Oh my goodness, my water broke, and I went into labor, and of course, he wasn't there. He wasn't there for labor. He was in prison. So the people who were in the room with me were my mom and my oldest sister, and they were there from the beginning, like just helping me with my daughter. And Alexis was born on March 27th. I want to say at like 5 o'clock in the morning. So, continuing on, I obviously, it was hard. How you see it on Teen Mom with the struggle of, waking up in the middle of the night, going to school in the morning. Um, it's all real. Like, it is hard. I would never say that being a teen parent is easy. It's not. You're trying to figure out who you are, and now you're responsible to raise another human being. Um, and and dealing with the fact that I had a boyfriend, so to say, in prison. It was I did take Alexis to go see her dad in prison. I probably waited until she was about 6 months. He was in there until she was 2.5. Um, and me being the naive me, I was faithful. I was stuck by him because I wanted my daughter to have her dad. I wanted my daughter to have a family, and I wanted my daughter, to have some sort of normal in everything that wasn't normal. So it was hard. It was never easy. I think that when I was alone and he was in prison, I did way better than when he was with me. And certain things proved that, like people saying things, and it was, but when you're that age, you don't want to hear it. You are gonna do what you want to do. You're gonna not listen to people. I think my next thing that I would say is listen. Actually listen and actually hear what people are telling you, because a lot of the times they're right. Like when they say, oh, your mom knows best, definitely. Like everything my mom ever said was absolutely true, was absolutely right. And I never listened. So, if I could go back, I would probably listen a little bit more. I would definitely um, take their advice, maybe ask more questions so that way, you know, I have a better understanding of what was expected from me, what I could do better. So like I said, I in no way am the best parent or know everything about this. I just know that I was a teen mom, that it was really hard, and I did a lot of things wrong. My parents didn't talk to me, and I didn't ask questions. So that was on me as well as on them. But I knew right from wrong, and so I should have, waited. Like, if you're questioning if you should wait for sex? The answer is absolutely. Absolutely wait. Um, you never know. You just never know. If you don't think it could happen on the first time, let me tell you, it can. Um, and if you're a parent, just talk to your kids. Start talking to them when they're young about uncomfortable things, because eventually you're going to want them to talk to you about it when they're older and when it counts, when it's going to affect the rest of their lives. I've tried to do that with my own kids. We'll definitely talk about that in future videos. So definitely, this was a little bit of a hard subject to talk about, but you're going to get to meet my kids. You're going to get to meet the old man. You're going to get to meet certain people in my life who've been there through a lot of it. So, talk, have communication, and hopefully next time we'll have a little bit of a funner video. This one's kind of like a serious, but I want you guys to get to know my life and get to know me and why I am the person I am today. So, if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Of course, you can go ahead and follow me on Instagram and Facebook. If you would like, you could see me more in my day-to-day activities. I do like to go live. I do like to have fun. Here, I'm just going to mostly talk about my life and how I can help people, hopefully through just little things. So if you have questions, about being a teen mom, if you have questions about anything really, please DM me, message me in the comments. I will be more than happy to help you in any way that I can. Thanks. Have a nice day.